At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Happy Friday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Be sure to check in for the latest updates on the forecast. I do need to mention here at the very top here that I'm going to have to make this Coffee with Krueger a little brief. I've got a few things that I need to attend to this morning to make sure that I'm not late for those. So we'll kind of go through a little bit more quickly than I typically do here, but I'm still going to give you the comprehensive coverage that you know to expect here at Weather NorCal. And for me, in general, I love to give details, more details than probably necessary, but that's kind of what I'm all about here. So tell you what, let's, of course, check in. We've got Mary McFrame saying, good morning, Mike. Want to thank you for joining us this morning and chiming in. Hey, be sure to, if you're on Facebook, or if you're on social media, or say YouTube, for example, on your computer, chime in, say good morning, say what's going on, what you got going on this weekend, what you doing. Let's get the conversation going and have a little fun along the way as well, and ask questions, especially when you get into that fire coverage, because of course I know that there are a lot of concerns and questions when it comes to that fire. So let's start things off with Krueger's Quick Cast. Of course, as you know, I do go into detail. So with Krueger's Quick Cast, for those of you that check in early in the morning and check in with Coffee with Krueger in the morning, but you just want to no-nonsense forecast, well, here it is. We call it Krueger's Quick Cast for your Friday, August 9th. Temperatures right now are in the upper 60s to around 70s, so if you're heading out the door soon, just know that temperature is still pretty mild out there. A little bit cooler, though, in the mountains. Low to mid-50s right now, in the mid-50s out along the coast. Let's take a look at that visibility out there right now, and it looks like things are improving a little bit from the last few mornings. Let's go ahead and take a look at right now, and ooh, look at this. We've actually got elk hanging out in elk country. I've actually had someone make a comment, non-elk country or something like that, because, you know, yeah, when we look at the camera, particularly, we don't see the elk, but we do this morning, and there they are. Elk country living up to its name, but you'll also notice the cloud cover. We're still seeing a lot of the low clouds and fog out there. In fact, we take you out to Crescent City, Harbor District. There you can see the camera out there. Just kind of overcast. It's not drizzly or anything like that. It's just overcast. So really not looking at a lot in the way of clouds at the surface, but there may be a few spots that are certainly looking at that. All right, for fun, we'll take one more last look at the elk country cam just north of Trinidad. And yes, it's always fun to check out the elk. All right, let's go ahead and again take a look at that visibility. You can see about 6 miles in Crescent City and Eureka right now. Not looking at much in way of fog out there with 10-mile visibility. All right, out the door this morning. Those temperatures, low 70s in the valley, low to mid 60s for the higher elevations. I still think we're seeing some haze, even out towards Modoc County as well this morning, and not to mention smoky conditions off in the eastern mountains. There's a look at the smoke, and you can see at noon today. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a rinse and repeat forecast for the smoke as well. A lot of the areas that have seen haze and smoke over the last few days, you're going to pretty much see a repeat of it again here for today and even into tonight. And temperature-wise, more of the same too. We're not seeing much change. You know, I've been talking about a cooling trend. We're actually in the middle of it right now, believe it or not. It was warmer earlier this week. So temperatures have dropped a little bit, but they'll drop even more by the time we do get into the weekend. And you'll see that when we look at that 7-day outlook for the valley to start off with. We're down to the upper 90s on Sunday, mid to upper 90s on Sunday for the valley, low 90s. And you know, we're splitting hairs at this point, but could some of us in the valley only get into the upper 80s by Tuesday of next week? Places like Chico, maybe Red Bluff? Not out of the question. So yeah, we've got significantly cooler weather in store for us as we go through next week. Looking at the coast, inland, and Weaverville, same situation with the exception of the coast, of course. Low to mid 60s, starting off with fog, drizzle at times, and then maybe a little bit of clearing for some of you in the afternoon. For Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains, you've got mainly sunny skies. Of course, the haze and smoke that we will see, especially in Modoc County and in the eastern mountains. By the way, I want to show you this. Do you see it? Take a look. Take a close look at this picture. I want to thank Debbie Mitchell for sending in this picture. Now, can you see it? I'm going to give you a hint. It's right there in the center of the picture. Do you see a face? See any kind of face? All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a look at what Debbie saw. Look at that. So if you look at the image we were just looking at the top, Debbie saw this, and she outlined it for you in that green. You can even see a little bit of a hand kind of waving hello. So the clouds waving hello. How fun is our imagination? I bet you a lot of you, maybe in the same area, didn't even see anything near that. But Debbie did when she looked up in the clouds. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you for sending in that image. So much fun. Hey, by the way, if you want to send in images like that, maybe you saw something in the clouds, send it using the Weather NorCal app. That's how Debbie did it, and that's how everybody else does it. That's how everybody cool's doing it. Yeah, that's right. It's all about your iPhone or your Android, right? And if you don't have the app, go to your app store and search for Weather NorCal and download the app for free today. All right, that is, of course, looking at your quick cast. Before we get into the fires, I'm going to check in with everybody else. Looks like we got a few more people saying hello and good morning this morning. Let's take a look at what our friend Tracy Sackett, kind of one of our regulars. Thank you so much for joining us, Tracy. Saying good morning from MacArthur. Hope everyone is having a great day and, of course, a great weekend that will be in store for us. We've also got another one of our regulars, Chappie Debbie Mitchell, saying good morning and happy Friday. And, of course, the first one that chimed in this morning was Mary Mac Frame, saying good morning. Oh, more people are chiming in this morning. Well, it looks like, Debbie is saying, I'm glad you enjoyed my picture. It was awesome. It was so much fun to see that here. We've also got Bill Carlton chiming in this morning saying, good morning from Red Bluff. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you, and I'm sure you telling everybody else to have a great weekend as well. All right, tell you what, let's get to the fire and what's going on with the latest here. And, there's some new stuff to report. Not a whole lot. I mean, we have seen the fire grow. We've seen it move a little bit more to the north and east. This is the latest fire perimeter that you're seeing here. Now, when you're looking at this, do take note that the areas of black line, that is the black containment line. That is the 34% containment. So you see a little area in the north. In fact, I'm going to do it right now because for some reason it didn't go in here. Let's make sure it's the right color. In fact, you know what? We'll do this. Let's make sure it's the right color. It is. Okay. We'll do telestrate, and here you go. This little area right here is also contained. It's a little touchy. There we go. Okay. And we'll turn off the telestration, and there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and stop this all. And I'm going to push, I don't have to push save, but I'm going to do this. I got to do one other thing, folks. I'm getting to it. Hold on 1 second. We'll get there. But I did want to just show you the black line of containment as well. All right, so there it is. We've got the black line of containment here for the areas in black. You see a little bit to the northwest side of the fire, and most of the west side of the fire is contained, minus that one little area. Basically to the east of Dairyville, as a matter of fact, the south end of the fire, but unfortunately the northeast side of the fire is still going on strong, folks, especially that arm that kind of kicked out here. All right, so let's take a look at the fire perimeter. I don't have the containment lines in there, but I just wanted to illustrate where we're seeing the most recent activity over the last 7 days, and it's in that arm of the fire. Okay, so let's zoom it in a little bit closer. Now, the areas of yellow, that's anywhere from, say, 4 to 2 days old, as you get into the oranges as well. The red is about 6 to upwards of 12 hours old. So that's where we've seen it kind of on the west or northwest side of that arm, and then the northeast side of that arm as well. Let's take it in a little bit closer, give you an idea. So on the east side of Highway 172, south of Highway 89, so between Mill Creek and Childs Meadows, we've seen some recent activity there. Some of that could be from firing operations or just the fire working itself in through the firing operations. You'll also notice on the northwest side, as you get it does look like at least that north of Highway 36, east of Mineral, is right before it intersects with Highway 89, you'll see that there is an area that may have gone over to the north side of Highway 36 as you go east of Mineral. Now again, this is coming in from the satellite, so it's not going to be quite as accurate as you would get from the fire perimeter. So let's take a look at that fire perimeter. See the areas of white? So again, the white perimeter is south of Highway 36, so that's coming in from CAL FIRE. So that's the most recent data coming in as of about 6 o'clock this morning. So that's looking pretty accurate there. So there's a chance it may not have gone over Highway 36. That said, the report coming in from CAL FIRE is that on this arm of the fire, there are over 2,000 firefighters fighting this part of the fire. Now, there have been some spot fires, so they're saying that where there are spot fires, even if they go over Highway 36, they're able to get a handle on them because they do have so many firefighters to be able to get a handle on those spot fires. But again, their main objective is to keep the fires south of Highway 36, not to mention south of Highway 89 and basically southeast of 89 as well, or southwest. They are also mentioning that if you are able to go back in your homes, please slow down. Please be aware of the firefighters and give them the right of way because they're the ones that are the ones going out and fighting the fires, and we've got to make sure that they've got what they need. So again, we'll take a closer look at just the fire perimeter, and what you'll see here is that they're so far getting up to their objective, and that is to keep it south of 36 and 89. Now again, you can see some of the fire that is east, basically between Highway 172 and Highway 89. Again, I'm not exactly sure if these are firing operations or if it's kind of a combination of firing operations and just kind of getting the fire contained within that one area between 172 and 89, because obviously they want to keep it away from Charles Meadows, and not to mention Mill Creek. So if you notice, Mill Creek, let's zoom it in here. We're going to see some of those highway symbols kind of get off their tracks there, but they're just going to give you an idea. Mill Creek is right in here. It's kind of hard to see because of all the trees, but they've been able to keep that containment line just outside of where most, if not all of the homes are. Again, we're probably going to be getting more reports as to whether or not any homes in that area have been damaged or not. I don't know. We don't know that yet. All right, so for those of you in Mill Creek, hang tight. I'm sure we'll start getting some reports. I do know that someone went through the Mill Creek Resort area, checking out the cabins. It looks like they were all okay based on that report, but that was 2 days ago. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. In the meantime, we take you up again between Highway 89 and 172. And that looks a bit of a firing operation to me, but you can see Morgan Springs and Charles Meadows is to the south of that. We'll take a look at, tell you what, I'll get out of here. It's going to kind of move out. Yeah, let's get you back to it. So let's just, take a look at the measuring tool here. There it is. And about a half mile to Morgan Springs and about a half mile to Charles Meadows. Just kind of give you an idea. Let's see what else we got here. And again, you can kind of see Mill Creek. So most likely this, as we go and take a look at some of the illustration, it'll be black, but that's fine. It'll kind of probably join forces here. Don't know if there's any homes in that area. Hopefully there aren't, but we'll see. All right, let's take you up toward Mineral, because I'm sure there are people who are living in Mineral who are a little concerned, or a lot concerned, really. So let's take a look at that measurement tool. This is the fire perimeter right here. This looks to be the closest to Mineral proper, just under a mile there. And some of the roads and communities about 0.8 miles. Let's zoom it in even closer. Oops. There we go. Let's do that. Now we'll get the measuring tool in there. So we take you to Mineral Avenue, approximately right there, about 0.8 miles. And of course, the Highway 36, about a mile. And then Morgan Avenue, 1.1 miles. So you kind of get the idea there as we take a look at the distances to some of those areas. But overall, we kind of take a look at things here. And again, I kind of take a look, and I'm going to do a telestration. We'll do that. Let's set that up for right color. Black is a little bit hard to see. Okay, good. All right, so here's Highway 36, where it meets Highway 172, and then I'm just going to kind of do a general 172 loop here. So, the thing is, minus, of course, it's all within that white area, Minus, of course, as you start getting closer to Mineral and, of course, over Willow Creek, most of that is probably just going to naturally fill in. But obviously, they are doing everything they can. They're putting lines around these communities at Mill Creek and Mineral and Childs Meadows, right, the works. But, there's just some of those areas that they just got to let it burn. And again, too, plus the terrain is still, we have to remember that Mill Creek drainage has just been treacherous. It's terrible. And then, of course, I would say that a lot of this area is going to kind of naturally burn in as well. But again, keep in mind, the communities, the homes, all of that, any structures, they're going to do everything they can to protect those structures. We have to remind ourselves of that. So that's kind of the latest there. Now, another thing, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to this one right here. The other thing that CAL FIRE had mentioned in their update is that we can't let our guards down. We've been really focusing on this arm of the fire right here, right? We've been really focusing on this area. For good reason, right? Because this is where we've seen all of the growth. It's really threatening Mineral, Mill Creek, all of that, Childs Meadows, all of that. It's been threatening those communities. But we can't let our guard down. There have been hot spots on the west side of the fire over here. And in fact, I think it was 2 days ago, there was a hot spot or a spot fire or something that had gotten closer to the community of Dairyville. So obviously area of concern a couple of days there. Right? So again, we can't let our guard down. Also, keep in mind, we have a whole area here that is not contained. So we got to watch that. We've got to watch this area as well, and not to mention this. Now, this has not moved at all, what feels like over a week at this point. So that's obviously good news. All right, tell you what, let's kind of take our focus, unless there's any questions. Let's see if there's any questions here before we kind of move on here. Doesn't look like. We've got Stephen Koch here mentioning something. Let's take a look at what he has to say. Let's see if it all gets in there. It may not. Almanor Peninsula purple air readings are 233 and 157. There are no sensors by Hamilton Branch, but our friend there says it is clear. Can we assume the air quality is okay in the Hamilton Beach area? We can't. We can never really assume anything. Where exactly is the Hamilton Beach area? I know the peninsula. Oh, Hamilton Branch. Oh my gosh. I mean, listen, here's the bottom line. So we are seeing the first part of the day, and we'll take a look at that smoke forecast here in a second. We are seeing at least the first half of the day, most of the smoke to the north, just to the north of Chester. So yes, right now it might be clear there, even in the peninsula, not to mention Hamilton Branch. But later this afternoon into tonight, no, the smoke will most likely move back over Chester and that whole area as well. What are your views on the burn scar as buffer to Almanor and Chester? Listen, that means there are going to be less fuels. That's the bottom line. There will be less fuels, but even though that was, 3 years ago, there have been some fuels that have regrown. We've seen things grow very rapidly. So the burn scar, yeah, sure, that's going to help. But I wouldn't say that it's going to stop the fire. But yes, it certainly is going to help, I think, the firefighters as maybe a bit of a buffer zone. But I wouldn't bank on the burn scar. What are we talking about here? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name of that fire? The Dixie Fire. Don't bank on the Dixie Fire burn scar to stop the fire. You can't do that. We just can't do that. But it should help. It should help a little bit. Any other questions? Okay, good. Glad you got your answer there, Stephen, about the air quality. Again, stick around, Steve, because we're going to be taking a better look and a closer look at the smoke forecast, and I think that will really answer the question for you. All right, let's take a look at now some of the latest fire perimeters. Now it's the Hill Fire, which is south of Willow Creek. The acreage has not changed in over a week. Let's get that out of there. The acreage hasn't changed in over a week now, but we've seen the containment this week slowly improve. We're up to 95% containment on that fire at this point. All right, that is going to do it for the fire coverage. Tell you what, let's get right to it now. And we are, yesterday I had a chance to meet the new Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. So tell you what, let us take a look at, I already forgot his name. What is his name? Well, you'll find out what his name is here in our Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal, and this is Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. We are at the Haven Humane Society with Katrina and Damien, a youngster, I hear, right?
Yeah, so Damien is actually only 9 months old.
9 months? You're just a tiny little pup.
So he's a puppy, but definitely not too puppy. He's kind of a good age. Oh, he sees a friend over there.
You're mature for your age, aren't you?
He is. He's really sweet. He has a very sweet temperament. He's definitely very social with people and other animals.
And apparently other animals, because there's one walking by right now.
Yeah, he's all excited.
Yes.
Damien's pretty special. When he actually first came to us, we noticed his little leg was like a little bit like bent, a little deformed a little bit, and they discovered that he's actually missing a bone in his leg. So that doesn't affect him too much, but does add a little bit of character to him. It hasn't slowed him down though, and he definitely still likes running around and playing and doing everything that puppies do. But he is a really well-behaved puppy, I would say. He's not, particularly chewy or gets into nonsense too much. I would say he's kind of an old soul in a lot of ways.
Who doesn't like an old soul, right? So you think a good household, pretty much for anybody, right? I mean, like kids, whatever, right?
Honestly, yeah. He just has such a good temperament and I would say a good energy level that we think he would fit into most households.
And if someone has an iguana, how do you think? No, just kidding.
I think he would be great.
Probably with cats, probably pretty good too. Who knows? But if you're interested in Damien, or of course they got all kinds of great animals here. Sometimes they probably get iguanas. I don't know. Have you ever gotten an iguana?
I've never seen one, but I have seen all sorts of.
You never know.
Creatures.
But if you're interested in any of the animals they have here, or Damien, bring Damien home with you. 9-month-old. What kind of mixed breed?
Yeah, it's like a pit mix.
Pit mix. All right, pit mix breed here. Be sure to give the number on your screen a call, and they will take care of you. In the meantime, have a great day. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Katrina, and we will see you next time for Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood. I cut myself off there, didn't I? Of course, I meant to say sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. I want to thank them for their sponsorship of not only Pet of the Week, but the Animal Family segment. Certainly appreciate their sponsorship over the last year, and they certainly have been a great help to the overall growth of Weather NorCal. So couldn't be more grateful for our sponsors in general. Haven Humane is great. We adopted our Eddie. Oh, that's awesome. 5 years ago. Well, that's great, Debbie. Happy Friday from Justin Billing as well. We'll tell you what, let us get right to the deep dive forecast, which is, of course, we're talking about our sponsors. How about Wind River Resort and Casino? At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games right there at Wind River Resort and Casino. I want to thank them for their sponsorship, and of course Coffee with Krueger wouldn't be possible without our sponsorship from Wind River Resort and Casino. All right, tell you what, let's take a look at, I thought I had it going, I guess I don't. Now we do. We're going to take another look at that picture. This is fun. Debbie, thank you for sending in this image. So do you see it? If you didn't watch at the top of the show, then you're seeing it for the first time. So do you see it? I'm just going to let you look at it. All right, the next clue is, do you see any kind of image in here? The second clue after that is, do you see a face? Look right there in the center of your screen. Do you see it? Look closely. Now I'm going to circle it right here with my finger. How about right there? Do you see it? Maybe a bit of a nose, maybe a little bit of face, maybe some eyes. And if you look even closer, and if your imagination really takes off, you might even see a little hand waving at you. That's at least what Debbie saw. In fact, Debbie outlined it herself. Little eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, a little smirk of a smile there, and there's the hand waving at you. All right, thank you, Debbie, for sending in that image. If you want to send in your images, you want to see them right here on Coffee with Krueger or on the Morning Update, on social media, super easy. It really is. If you got the Weather NorCal app, and if you don't, why not? Get it today. It's free. It's the best local Northern California source for weather you're going to find. I think a lot of people will agree with you on that. So from your phone, iPhone, on the App Store, search for Weather NorCal. On your Android, go to the Google Play Store, search for Weather NorCal. You'll see this logo. Tap Install, Not only will you get all the great information that Weather NorCal has to offer, but you can share your photos from there as well. All right now we're looking at temperatures basically around 70, give or take, in the valley. We're mainly in the 50s for the higher elevations, mid-50s along the coast. So here's your headlines. The cooling trend has begun. I know that's hard to believe, but think about the highs earlier this week, which are like 106, 107 in Redding, 103, 104 now, right? And that's essentially what we're looking at for the next couple of days. But there will be a slight dip in our temperatures this weekend, even cooler by next week, but no significant rain in the forecast. Bad because we need the rain. Good because typically rain this time of the year is also associated with thunderstorms and lightning. So we're not going to see the lightning. So that's the good part when we look at the long range. Right now, the winds, you can see, are fairly calm across the region. Really, when we look at the winds, we're looking for anything unusual. And right now, I'm not seeing anything unusual. Yes, the typical afternoon breezes, some days a little breezier than others, but not having a major impact on the fire. It's what we have to look for are major wind events, which again, I'm not seeing that happen. Now we look at the humidity. Let's watch the humidity here. All right, so today at 5 o'clock, we're down into about 10% in Chico. That's kind of the closest humidity level that you're seeing here, closest to the fire. 8% as we go into Saturday. How about Sunday? Look at this. Still very dry for the north end of the valley, but as we get in the vicinity of where the fire is, we're beginning to see those humidity levels increase. Now there's a reason for that, because starting Sunday, I think we'll see more of a noticeable drop in those temperatures. As temperatures drop, humidity levels tend to go up. Not always, but they tend to go up. And that's essentially what we're seeing here. Now we look at the smoke forecast. Now watch closely. 5 p.m. Look where most of that smoke is. Okay? So, yeah, it looks like through a majority of the day, just north of Chester and just north of Susanville. Keep in mind, though, that could push a little bit to the south. We'll see. But then by the evening, yes, it will kind of push and settle down into places like Chester and Susanville. So yeah, if you're going out to Chester for the day, it's a gamble. I'm going to tell you that much right now. Yes, I can tell you that that's what the smoke forecast is calling for, but we all know there are always surprises, aren't there? So just note that it's looking pretty promising that it may be, at the very least hazy, but eventually that smoke will probably come in here later on tonight. And it's still a little haze elsewhere as well. And then that's pretty much rinse repeat here as we take you into your Saturday as well. All right, let's take a look at your satellite, and you can see all that monsoon moisture over here. Afternoon thunderstorms there. Now, what we watch is to see if any of that monsoon moisture comes in over us. So let's start with the next couple of days. That fog really persistent along the coast. And really for the fog, for the coast, what you're seeing here is fog overnight, early morning hours, and some drizzle. Some days are better than others. It's just kind of one of those things where it kind of just does a little bit of this. It kind of goes back and forth. We see it make its way into some of those neighboring valleys as well. And you can see as we go into Saturday, pretty much the same situation, right? And look at this. We're beginning to see those afternoon cumulus clouds developing in the higher elevations. Watch over the weekend. Some of these may translate into a few showers as we go into Saturday and especially Sunday. For now, I'm keeping it dry, but be sure to watch Brian Wilson over the weekend. He'll have the latest on that for you. Otherwise, you can see again, just that fog really staying persistent along the coast. Now, again, I was talking about the monsoon moisture. Look at over us. We want to see if any of that monsoon moisture shifts to the west. And at this point, doesn't look like it's going to happen. But we are going to see cooler weather move in. So let's take a look at that. Here's the heat that's been over us this week. It's finally shifting to the south and east, starting today, especially going into the weekend. This right here is a trough of low pressure. That's what's pushing that heat to our south and east. We're getting a reinforcing shot of some cooler air coming in from the north. But it's going to take a while before it gets here. So we still have the troughing in place, but there's going to be some a ridge of high pressure that'll build in. So temperatures dropping for Monday, Tuesday. By around the middle of next week, this ridge is going to try to build in. So we may see a bump up in our temperatures by around Wednesday, Thursday. Then by the end of next week, this is going to dive down to the south. That's going to kind of push that area of high pressure to the north and east. And we are kind of sandwiched between the two. Now, a couple of things I want to point out with this. Number one, yes, significantly cooler by the end of next week, not to mention that next weekend. That's the good. However, we're getting a bit of a squeeze play between high and low pressure. As you know, winds blow from high to low pressure. Okay? that's really not what we're talking about here. Really, it's, of course, the direction of the winds, because the winds will be kind of blowing in this direction right here. All right. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at that counterclockwise flow around the area of low pressure. We get a bit of a squeeze play that I was talking about here. Okay. So this, when we get these isobars, they're called isobars when they're tightly packed, that can maybe mean winds. Now keep in mind, we're looking out over a week from now, but this is a pattern we are going to have to watch closely, because if this comes into play, even though the winds would be coming in from the south and west, it's still strong winds. We don't need that, especially when we're talking about that fire. So we'll keep an eye on it, but for now, it's just, let's keep our eyes on it. Let's not get too alarmed at this point. But we do have cooler than normal temperatures in the long range, and you'll see that. Look at the 10-day trend for Reading in particular. You'll notice, again, status quo today and tomorrow. Temperatures dropping Sunday, low 90s. There's an uptick for Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe back down again here for your Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Bottom line is the normal high for Reading is 99. We'll be below that, especially through all of next week into that next weekend. Let's take a look at those wave heights. You can see fairly low, especially for the immediate coast. Going into your Saturday, doesn't look to be that much of an issue. All right, so let's take a look at your marine forecast for today. North winds at 5 to 10 knots. There's your high and low tide. Patchy morning drizzle, and of course that fog, that should dissipate though by the afternoon. So here is your detailed neighborhood by neighborhood forecast, starting off with Trinity County. Temperatures upper 90s to about 100 degrees here for today. And of course, taking a look at Hayfork, temperatures upper 90s to about 100 today and tomorrow. Low to mid 90s Sunday, Monday. And then maybe even some upper 80s by next Wednesday. Let's take you out to the north coast, and there you can see, looking at Redway, temperatures in the 80s over the weekend, low 80s by Monday and Tuesday of next week. We take you out to Ferndale, Fortuna, Hydesville, and Rio Dell. Fortuna, yeah, it looks like basically in the mid-60s, give or take here. Let's take you up to the north, Trinidad, 68 degrees for Blue Lake. Low 90s over the weekend, and in those mid-80s here by Monday and Tuesday. Let's take you up north. Smith River, 68 degrees, 64 for Klamath, 75 degrees in Gas Key. And there you can see, of course, those temperatures will be in the mid-60s for Crescent City. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, yeah, still hot today, but temperatures in the low 90s over the weekend. Upper 80s, low 90s for next week. 96 out in Greenview, Etna about 96, Fort Jones 93, and of course 80s by the time we get into early next week. Central, eastern Siskiyou County. When I say detailed neighborhood forecast, you're going to see it right here. You're going to get that detailed neighborhood forecast. So anyone who's watching anywhere in Northern California, you're going to get your forecast. All right. 91 degrees for Newell, 95 for Alturas, and 90 degrees in Cedarville today. Eastern Mountains, 91 degrees out in Hat Creek, 94 for Montgomery Creek, Paynes Creek about 97. Taking a look at Lake Elminor and Lassen Park, my small studio bumping into things over here. There you can see 89 for Lake Elminor Peninsula. Again, hazy at the very least today. The smoke will probably get a little bit more dense later on tonight in those areas. There you can see Paradise, a high of 94, 96 for Doyle, and Susanville about 96 degrees. Let's take a look at your valley neighborhood forecast for your temperatures there. Upper 90s for the south end of the valley. A little bit of that Delta breeze influence. Otherwise, you are going to be looking at temperatures 100 degrees or higher, especially for the Red Bluff and Reading area. Those temperatures are expected to be somewhere around 100 degrees here. Hold on one second. I need to do something real quick. So yes, that's what we're looking at here is we're looking at a high of 101 degrees Friday, 101 Saturday, and then looks like in those mid 90s by Sunday, and look at that by Monday, you're in the low 90s. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Reading. 103 degrees today and tomorrow. So again, not much change. It's still hot. And again, you're probably thinking, well, where's that cooler weather you're promising? It's happening. It will happen. It's just not until next week. We're talking Monday, Tuesday, and then mid 90s here by your Wednesday. Okay, so folks, that's going to pretty much do for us this morning on the Friday. As I mentioned, I have to make this Coffee with Krueger a little bit shorter than usual, so I'm not going to be able to interact with you as much here, but I just want to thank everybody for chiming in this morning. We've got Justin Billing, Chappie, Kim saying good morning, and thank you, Kim, for your blessings for a good morning, and I'd like to say good morning to you all as well as we're enjoying our Coffee with Krueger. By the way, if you're just checking in, one of the things I like to mention is that I always do a very detailed fire update, right? And if you missed it, if you missed the Coffee with Krueger live broadcast, that's not a problem. I'm going to take you to the website here, and real quickly, we're going to show you. Here is weathernorcal.com. Just type that in your web browser. Make sure you put it in your bookmarks, by the way. Right there. You click on Coffee with Krueger. We'll tap on that. There's yesterday's forecast, right? Because, of course, it was yesterday. When I'm done with this, it's recording as we speak. When I'm done with this, I'll upload it to YouTube, and then, of course, it will go to my website as well. So be sure to check that out. And that's where you're going to get the most detailed fire data is from Coffee with Krueger. There's no other place that's going to have as much detail on at least just the fire perimeter, what's going on with that fire, and all of that, right? And then, of course, throughout the day, if you're looking for fire information, well, you can get that. I've got watch duty at the very top. You can get the latest on the acreage of the fire, the containments of the fire. It's all interactive. You can go in there. You can click what's all that information. You can see the Storm Prediction Center. You can take a look at what they call the significant fire potential here for your Friday, not to mention for your Saturday. And look at the winds are a bit of a concern here as we go into Sunday and Monday. So again, things to take a look into. And then, of course, you can see if there's any red flag warnings. You can take a look at your zone to see if there are any evacuation warnings or orders. And if your particular county is not part of the Genesis Protect program, then I've also got you covered here. By the way, there, of course, are the power shutoffs. So you just have to click on that. But here are the Office of Emergency Services by county. So that is where you're going to find if your county is not part of the Genesis Protect, you can go to the Office of Emergency Services by county and get that information there. All right, that is going to do it for us this morning, folks. We're going to leave you with a camera here real quickly. And, well, I thought it was going. I guess it is going. So we'll get you going on that as well. But there's a look at the elk. It looks like they're hanging out in the prairie off in the distance there in the grass. Just kind of hanging out. We'll leave with some other images as well. In the meantime, again, sorry I had to make this a little short, but hopefully you got all the information you needed right here on Coffee with Krueger, Weather NorCal, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. We'll see you. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you Monday morning at 7 a.m., which, by the way, there's a special little location I might be on Monday with Coffee with Krueger, so be on the lookout for that. Just a little teaser, if you will. In the meantime, enjoy this shot of the elk out in elk country just north of Trinidad. And as I mentioned, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.